Hi, I'm James. Today we're rehearsing for our upcoming show, Momentous, celebrating 35 years of the London Gay Men's Chorus. Now, as it is LGBTQ History Month, we're asking members of the chorus gay cultural moments that have really impacted them.
So mine's actually quite a recent addition to my very long journey. So it's 2020. I don't really watch a lot of TV, but it's the pandemic, so what are you going to do? And I watched Schitt's Creek. I felt so much queer joy, like I didn't even know I needed. And it was only afterwards I found out it's the first time we've ever seen a same-sex couple without there being any negativity, no hatred, no subplots around homophobia. And I had to rewatch it again, and it landed so hard. And I realised nobody should have to wait until they're 35 to see that. And it reminded me of my responsibility to be that person for another young queer person.
My key cultural moment for me was when I was younger, seeing these drawings, these line drawings of really hunky men in like leather gear and not really knowing what it was. But then growing up and realising it's Tom of Finland, which is now one of my favourite artists and art styles.
So as an English teacher, I was always looking for books that I felt were really inclusive. And I didn't feel like there were a lot of novels that were appropriate for young people that had LGBTQ characters in them. And I stumbled across this book a long time ago. It was published in 2003, I think, called Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan. And what really struck me about this book was the fact that it was set in a small town in America that was just accepting of everyone. There was no prejudice, there was no discrimination. And the focus was on this relationship that developed with these young boys. And they didn't have to worry about any of the things that you would think that they would have to consider issues at that age. There was no discrimination, there was no prejudice, like I said, and they were just able to develop this really loving relationship. And I just thought it was a really beautifully written novel. And it was a novel that I wished I had when I was younger. And it was a gateway for me into other young adult novels, which dealt with similar themes and storylines. And it was a book that I recommend to young students at school all the time now. And I'm really grateful for it.
Picture it! The year is 2004 and little baby Sam turns on the music channels and comes across a Scissor Sisters video. That was my opening into the queer nightlife club scene. It was life-changing for me.
So what I want to talk about is the impact that Madonna had on me as a gay man and a child, really. I suppose a gay child. I fell in love with Madonna when I was about 11. I used to go down to HMV in Oxford Street and just stand there watching videos that they used to play of her Virgin tour. I was captivated and I didn't really know why. So if you cut to sort of 1990 when I was 15 and my sexuality was emerging and I was finding it difficult to come to terms with it. It was in the 90s, there was a lot of negative imagery and commentary around being gay in the mainstream media. And Madonna was on tour with her Blonde Ambition tour. And shortly after that, there was a behind the scenes documentary released where she was behind the scenes with all of these amazing looking gay dancers. It became very clear to me that she was she had these relationships with these gay men and it made it seem really cool to be gay. And I thought, God, I could actually be proud of being gay. And I'd never felt like that before. She did more than any other individual, including people in my family, to make me be able to accept myself as a gay man. And it was a really profound thing. So I'm very grateful to Madonna.
I arrived in London back in 2006. It was one of my first weekends and I went to the Royal Vauxhall Tavern for the Dame Edna experience. For me, it was a place of community. It was a place of protest. And it was just a bloody good time. And I went every Sunday for about 3.5 years.
Yeah, so a particularly cultural moment for me was when gay marriage was approved in France. Happened at the same time as the UK, more or less. But I was living in Paris at the time. I didn't really have much direction in my life. Still looking for a job, all that sort of stuff. And Mika put a free concert in Paris. So I went to that and it was really, really nice. I also realized that all the battles were fought for me, but now there's new battles coming back. So that's why we're here.
When I was living in Slough, I was very young, just coming out, and I heard about this movie called Morris, which is from a book by Ian Forster. I don't know how I'd heard about it, but I went along. There was only 12 of us in the cinema, mostly male-female couples, and it was just amazing to watch a film that had positive images of gay men and a love story, and a love story that ended happily. It was just so uplifting and just what I needed at that moment.
So when I was merely 14 years old, I went to the local library and picked up a VHS. Google it if you don't know what that is. And I was lucky enough to pick up a film called Beautiful Thing. And this is in 98, and I was still figuring myself out and so on. I was 14 at the time. but this was the first gay film I ever watched, and it was just mind-blowing to me. And little sneaky me borrowed it from the library and brought it home, watched it in secret so my parents didn't know, and it was just this beautiful movie. And the music in it, we sing Make Your Own Kind of Music, and it's just beautiful. And I had the pleasure of a couple of years ago to go to the 20th anniversary of it, where we got to meet the director of the movie and also one of the actors from the movie as well.
So, in 1975 or thereabouts, at the tender age of 13, my father took me to see The Ritz. If you don't know, it's set in a gay bathhouse. I loved it. I watched it, I thought it was funny. I went home with my dad. About 40 years later, it occurred to me that my dad might have been trying to tell me something. He's gone now, but love you, Dad, and thanks for taking me.
Well, the most cultural moment that comes to mind to me is when they approved the civil unions in Italy 10 years ago, because it was very significant to us. And I was already a member of the gay community in my town, so it was a really great moment, also because I was part of a choir in Italy, so we had a chance to sing into a ceremony of two friends of ours.
Daniel Craig coming out of the ocean in Casino Royale in his little blue shorts had a significant impact on my gay upbringing. Jokes aside, singing Bridge Over Troubled Water in 2016 on Old Compton Street for the Pulse Vigil really impacted my gay upbringing. It was a significant moment in my time in the chorus, and it's one of my proudest moments and will always make me cry, no matter how many times we sing it. We're excited to be rehearsing for our upcoming show, Momentous, celebrating 35 years of the chorus. Tickets on sale very soon.